step up. Yes. Yes.
I never know if you're taking a photo or a video.
Shuttle to downtown again.
Did you pull something up? What's that say?
Feature not available when sitting below.
Okay.
Click the shutter button.
That one?
Yeah. There you go.
That's my damn shot. Thanks a lot.
I don't know, it's probably been moved on the button at the top. You're on easy. There you go.
Hello, how are you? Good morning again. Here we are. Let's say good morning to our driver. He's gonna be with us today. He's gonna drive us all around safe and sound. And we start our tour. We're leaving behind us our beautiful cruise ship, bye-bye. We're leaving the area of Turlos, as we call it, where it's the new port of Mykonos, the west coast of the island. To our left it's north. And we're gonna start our exploration from the southeast part of the island, where we're gonna, first our stop is gonna be to Kalafatis. Kalafatis is a very beautiful bay of the island of Mykonos, where we're gonna spend some time there. And then our second stop is gonna be to the village of Anomera, where we're gonna have a stop for ouzo and a plate of Mykonos flavors. And we're going to pay a visit also to a monastery, to a Christian Orthodox monastery once we're Christians Orthodox in Greece. And in the end we're going to have a scenic drive. We're going to pass from the southwest part of the island, where we're going to have an upper view of the area of Mykonos and also of St. John, where it's located at the southwest part of the island. Our tour more or less is going to last close to 3 hours. In the end, those of you that you want to be dropped off in the old town, straight to the right you're going to see all the white part. It's the old town of Mykonos. It's the capital of the island also, where it's the marketplace. If you want to do some shopping, the Fifth Avenue of Mykonos, as I like to say, with all the brand names and everything. We're going to give you the option for those of you that you want to stay to the old town. We're going to drop you off, and then the rest of us we're going to return back to the new port, where I'm going to give you also the ways to return back. Once that you're going to have shuttle buses that are going to pick you up from the old town and drop you off back to the new port all the time, every half hour on the hour more or less. So here we are. We're leaving behind us the area of Turlos in order to start exploring and see how is the island all around. First of all, welcome to the island of Mykonos, that's located more or less in the heart of the Cyclades. We call them Cyclades because they create a circle, and Mykonos nowadays, its population is close to 10,000 inhabitants. The coastline of it all around, it's close to 88, let's say 90 kilometers. That is translated in 2 hours of driving. Depends also on the traffic. It's a tiny island in comparison to the rumor that it has. And we're going to see that mostly of the Cycladic Islands, it's a barren rocky island if you have a look to the left, where we have piles of rocks all around. Mykonos, it's considered to be one of the most popular destinations for vacation in Greece. Last year, imagine that we had close to 2 million visitors on an island that is so small, and it serves the first rank with Santorini as the most popular destinations for the Greeks. Mykonos nowadays it's like Ibiza for the summer. Like the party island for Greeks, has legendary parties, brand names, clubs and DJs from all around the world, and also a lot of people that they belong to the global jet set. They buy villas, they have parties, Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, some of the names of the people that they actually visited the island of Mykonos. But of course the story didn't begin like that. It was a simple island with a very easygoing way of life. And if we started from the beginning, from the ancient time, we believe that the first ever inhabitants of the island of Mykonos, they're dated to the 3rd millennium BC. According to historian Herodotus, that he was the first historian ever dated to the 5th century BC. He was narrating and he was writing that the first inhabitants of the island of Mykonos, they were considered to be Ionians, and they were dated close to the 13th century BC. They were worshipping God, the 12 basic God of ancient Greek religion and mythology, and we have found all around the island sanctuaries that belong to God Dionysus, the god of wine, god of Apollo, the god of sunlight, Zeus, and also the 12 basic gods of ancient Greek religion. The 3rd millennium BC, the first prehistoric settlements that we have found, we weren't talking about the Greek nation, we were talking about pre-Hellenic generals, fishermen and sailors, merchants mostly, that they were having their settlements all around the shores of Mykonos. Imagine that from the excavations that we have done on the island, we have found out that Mykonos, it was a really poor island, extremely poor island the past years, the ancient time, due to barrenness, lack of water, something that the island is still suffering. We call the island of Mykonos in Greek the island of the winds. So if you have a conversation with a Greek person and you mention that you visited the island of the winds, he will definitely understand that you visited the island of Mykonos. It's that how we call it, the Greeks. Due to the fact that we have close to 300 days from 365 days per year, strong mostly northern winds, and especially during the summer we have the local phenomenon of meltemia, that there are super strong winds close to 6 or 7 Beaufort. In the morning they're becoming stronger and in the night they're calming down. That's why Mykonos, even from the ancient time, they were considered to be extremely good sailors once they were trained in the very difficult conditions of the strong winds. That's why also at the time on the island we used to have the presence of the windmills, that they were graining cereal for exportation of flour. They were taking the advantage of the free gift of the wind, the power of the wind. So imagine that as the years went by, we have the phrase that explains the Mykonos they were considered. We have found a phrase in ancient comedy of Aristophanes that he was explaining that the Mykonos they were sneaky people, poor people, that they were going to the neighboring islands to eat and drink for free during festivals and celebrations. As you can see nowadays, Mykonos took the revenge they wanted. Once it's considered to be one of the most healthy economies in Greece, even with the crisis that we have passed. Mykonos wasn't affected so much in comparison with the rest of Greece. It's like Monaco in the Greek economy. It's independent. Once it's mostly based its economy close to the 80% to the tourist industry. So mostly we have imported people and also money. Imagine that although the local population nowadays is 10,000 inhabitants, we have actually people that they stay all year round close to 7,000, and that number it's at least tripled during the summer due to the seasonal workers that they move on the island of Mykonos, to be occupied and also to fill all the resorts, all the places that they're needed all around the island. We started driving. To the left was also this, you see the green area. It is the private school of Mykonos. In general in Greece, keep in mind that we have public schools as the university is still public, but we have also in places that it's not enough, we have also private schools. One of them on the island of Mykonos, the only one actually, it's the big one that you see. We're going to find all around public ones. And as we started driving, we have to the left, I would like to show you a construction that nowadays it's for renting rooms, but has all the Cycladic characteristics in one. The upper story is with red color, and you can see the decoration of the chimneys at the top, and the ground level is with blue. As you noticed already, in Mykonos everything is going to be white. We have the typical Cycladic architecture with the flat rooftops. In times they were even collecting rainwater at the upper part of the construction. As we said, the strong winds are not allowing the clouds to stay above easily. That's why we have so few rainfall on the island. So that created the problem even from the ancient times, so even from people that were trying to find alternative ways to gain their living. So we have everything cubic structures. The passages that were trying to have smaller windows to keep warm inside their houses, to keep outside all the strong winds. And also imagine that they had white color due to the fact that they were afraid in ports, like the majority of the Cycladic islands, that they had ports, that after the long journeys, the men, the sailors, they were going to bring diseases and plagues that would be spread in seconds in places that they were poor. They didn't have the chlorine and the chemicals that we use nowadays to clean our houses. So imagine that they were burning pieces of limestone. They were making something like a white paint, and they were whitewashing, lime washing their houses to kill bacteria, for the sterility, the bacterial usage of the paint. And as the years went by, they were keeping the white color because it's the only color that reflects is 100% the sun. So in places that they had absence of shade, exposed to the sun, the strong sun of Cyclades, they were trying to keep the cooler the inner part of the construction in winter, in summer part, and the opposite during winter. So as for the blue color that we have in the windows and the doors, they were the colors of our flag. We're going to see the Greek flag that has stripes blue and white, and the cross in the side ones were Christians Orthodox in Greece. In terms of occupation, either in Italian occupation that we had at a time, or occupation of Turks that we had in Greece for 400 years, they say that they were keeping the blue and the white color to protest and show the colors of their flags in times that they weren't allowed in general. Nowadays, the white color is protected by law from the Greek government since 1930s. They protected by law as a protected heritage in order not to have any changes in the name of tourist industry. So once you buy your house or your land on the island, unfortunately or luckily, you're going to have to paint it white. You're not allowed to paint it purple or yellow, but in matter of the stories and the windows, the door, you're able to pick the color that you want. The most typical was the blue one, of course. Now we're passing to the left. It's the eye of the north. Straight ahead we have north. We have the northern bay that it's Ftolia. It's protected from the archaeological school once we have found here in the area the Neolithic settlement of the 5000 BC. That's why it's not so over constructed in comparison to the south parts of the island, and also because it's mostly heated every single day from the strong northern winds that we have. It's preferred from surface and kite surface for practicing, mostly once it's extremely windy. We're approaching close to the village of Anomera. To the left we're passing also a settlement. Behind the trees there you're going to find the monastery of Paleokastro, and that part of land is considered to be one of the oldest settlements except for the old town of Mykonos, where we have another monastery, and we're driving close to the village of Anomera. Nowadays it's mostly alive during winter, where we have most of the locals that actually stay to the northern part of the island. We're gonna pass to our left in a few minutes the public school of Anomera, and you're gonna see that it's another complex that is under construction of a donation for the new school of the island of Mykonos and the Anomera. Here you can see the public school of the village of Anomera, where to the right we're passing the monastery of Anomera that we're gonna pay a visit to our second stop. Now we continue straight ahead in order to reach the area of Kalafatis. You can see how the Anomera is separated in two parts. To the left, an abandoned windmill. Also, we had at the time all around the island close to 18 windmills.
You think they'd have the big turbines with the wind for the electricity?
Very true.
And we're driving with bus now, more or less the central part of the island, and we're heading southeast in specific to have an upper view of the base of Kalolivadi, the small bay of Santa Ana, and we're going to have a stop to Kalolivadi. Whereas we continue driving, you see that we have also small settlements of the cubic structures, as it was at every small house in Mykonos was considered to be an independent settlement, an independent village, where you can see attached always those small chapels that we have all around the island. That's considered to be a chapel. The other one there, in every house we used to have attached one private chapel. The tradition started from the past years, you see, that's an independent settlement, the house, the farm, the field next to them, and attached always a small private chapel. The tradition with the chapels started when the sailors, when they were traveling as merchants, the past years with the difficult weather conditions and the not so good equipment and boats. And they were praying that if they return back safe and sound, they're gonna erect a small chapel inside their property. As the years went by, we have ended to at least 800 to 900 chapels. Every Mykonian family has its own private chapel, that nowadays they're playing the role of family graves, something like private mausoleum, where they're placing the bones of their beloved ones inside. And every eve of the protector of the chapel that it's offered to, we have a very big festival where they cook and they're serving food with all the visitors. They have traditional music. We have an upper view. We're surrounded by the Aegean Sea, of course. It's not an ocean, it's a sea that it's globally famous about its transparent blue color. And we are approaching to the area here. We've passed the area of La. Now we're approaching close to Kalafatis. We're straight ahead. We have another area of Kalolivadi, and also we have the area of Lulos. In a few minutes I'm gonna point to you to our right. We're gonna have an upper view of Kalolivadi. Literally, if it's translated, it means the nice valley. One of the most beautiful and biggest bays that we have in Mykonos. And also, for those of you that are familiar with celebrity Lindsay Lohan, has last year opened her beach bar to the beach of Kalolivadi. You can have a view to our right. You can have a beautiful view of Kalolivadi. I have to admit, it's one of my favorite. Also, now you can see how big and beautiful is the coast. Now the beach bars has closed once we're approaching to the end of the season. In the end of October, you can see the area of Kalolivadi. Here to our right, we're passing the area of Lulos, small houses. And straight ahead we continue to have the stop Calafatis Beach, where also during the research on the island we have found prehistoric settlements even to that part of the island.
Wow.
That shows us that we have connections even with the Mykonos civilization that was located to the mainland of Greece. That's an evidence that we have merchants. Mostly at the ancient time Mykonos there were sailors and merchants. Piles of granite all around us. Mostly Mykonos has layers of granite, and it was used and it's still used as constructing material. We're in front of us to the right, we're having the two hills, as we call them in Greek, Vivounia. The locals, they compare them with the breasts of goddess Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty. And to the right part, the right slope of the hill, we have the bay of Santa Ana, a small quiet bay. And to the left part of the hill, we have the small village of fishermen. Where in front of us we have the very beautiful bay of Calafatis. We're gonna have a stop here.
Pretty.
It is.
It's not what I expected.
No.
Seeing as the party island.
It is, yeah.
It's like, where?
Right there.
Look where it's been built. The very square, bang, bang, bang rooms, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Aussie. Lots of horses.
We're passing to the left the small ponies.
Very much.
What's this?
I'm just going to quickly go back down to the beach because I forgot to get some video.
You do that?
No, I got photos. Well, it wasn't for selfies, it was just more some videos of the area.
Yesterday, yes, and I had taken her breakfast.
Oh god, that's narrow to squeeze between them two. The truck and
We
the
get the fish and chips
the
sometimes.
telegraph pole.
Well, they'll have it under the selection where it's from sometimes. But we just want to do it. There's a service charge.
See, it was like squeezing up there.
Oh.
No, it ain't gonna happen. Oh, good, now we've got the water on our side.
Yes.
That was a good little spot.
Nice beach. I mean, you know, if you're down at Manly at 8 o'clock in the morning, it'd be cold and breezy.
Right.
So, you know,
But it's good that it was less tourist, like less.
but the minute it's not breezy, it's flies and stinking on. So
True.
what would you sort of have? I'd sort of have breezy, to be honest.
Well, here we are. We continue to our second stop, and that's going to be Anomera. We're going to pay a visit to the local tavern where we're going to have a glass of fruzo and a plate of Greek meze, as we call it, something like pie, something like the side. And then our second part, we're going to pay a visit to the monastery of Virgin Mary. I'll try to leave you, when we reach now the place of Anomera, we're going to pay a visit to we're going to stop to the tavern, but I'm going to leave you some
I'll
time
just keep pressing.
if you want to wander around a little to Anomera and explore, and then I'm going to give us meeting point and time to reach all of us the monastery. So there it's going to be something 2 to 3 souvenir shops, it's a bakery if you want to have a coffee, or you can stay longer to the tavern. But if you want my opinion, in Greece we have our own coffee that we tend to have iced coffee. We make frappe instant coffee with ice,
Yeah.
Nescafe, or you can taste the iced espresso and iced cappuccino that we do. So it's something that you won't find all around Europe. We're coffee lovers in Greece. So don't hesitate to order an iced espresso or an iced cappuccino. It's something that you won't find easy, and something that is local. So it's better if you live the local experience. Starbucks, you can find them globally. You have a guide that's going to tell you the inside information. So here we are. We leave behind us the area of Kalafatis. I hope you enjoyed it. Taste the experience literally. And we're driving to the village of Anomera, where it's the winter destination for the locals, especially the old time that they were exposed by the coast to the west coast of the island that was the capital, and they were transferring inside winter the mainland of the island. We're going to see that Anomera is actually located behind the hills, protected, and mostly it's the farmers of the island that they were to that part of the land.
I just can't believe how small look at it.
It's not in
Tiny
there.
little rooms.
Boxes on top of boxes.
You can see also that the 2 hills that we have on the island, we don't have so many mountains. We have 2 hills that both they are named after Prophet Elias, and the highest hill that we have on the island is close to 800 meters, the most. Here we're passing on an area, you can see that it's mostly a residential area. And as we drive all around, you may notice already that we have the stone walls, mostly piles of rocks that they separate the hills, the slopes, you can see. It was a natural way, those piles of rocks, to separate the fields. As you can see, the stone walls to our left. And also it was a way to prevent erosion. In places that we don't have trees with roots to hold the ground together, and plus we have a dry environment, they were afraid in sudden rainfall all the ground would end to the sea. So they were making those terraces, those attempts to having horizontal fields. That's why we have the stone walls all around. Plus, as we drive all around, you're going to see, as for vegetation, that we have mostly fig trees, trumpet flowers. You're gonna find bugambillas, especially now we're gonna visit the village of Anomera. And also you're gonna see a lot of prickle pears that they're in groups, and they're growing, and they even collect the fruits of it, and they make liquor and also a sweet dessert with syrup here in Mykonos.
You make the vodka.
We're passing the stadium of Anomera, and we're reaching to the left. We're gonna have a stop, even you can see the tower berg of the monastery. Firstly, we're gonna stop to the tavern of Mr. Apostolis, to the square in the middle, as at every typical village in Greece, has a square in the middle with a tree and all around the taverns.
Bakery.
That's a 300 million.
Yep.
So here we are, we reached the
Would you consider standing sort of on that, walk on that up a little bit?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm getting it oriented. We went into London for the first time. We took a cruise out of Southampton. So we rented a car, went up to Bath, to the Stonehenge and down into Southampton. Well, I was in the airport in Manchester. In I didn't get to see Manchester because as soon as my plane was late, so stayed on the tarmac for 30 minutes. My plane left in an hour, so I was literally getting off the plane and running to the airport. My luggage didn't.
We're all going to see it.
Okay, let's give it a few minutes to see if the other guy is finished. Wait a few minutes because
They are, aren't they?
It just annoys me that people will be starving and
Yeah.
Part of the church where we're having a service every Sunday. It's open. Imagine it's the active church that we have in Anomera, and also Virgin Mary of Tudors, the protector of the island, let's say. And we're facing the wooden masterpiece that I told you that it was crafted after the restoration of the monastery. Where from that part and on, it's the most sacred part of the temple. Where only men are allowed to enter, and you can see that we have the part for the buildings. It's fully covered with marble, as we said. You can see the pillars that we have brings us memories from the architecture of Eastern temples. And you can see at the top, the dome, the type of basilica type of architecture that we have. It's a small one, actually, with 3 parts. And in every church, if it is a strict and conservative, we have to the left always the placement that happens all around the Byzantine churches. We have always to the left the placement of the icon of Virgin Mary. That's why women they tend to sit to the left where we have the service, and men they tend to sit to the right where we have the wooden icon of Jesus Christ always to the right. To the second part, always in every church we have the Baptist, always, and to the left, the second part, we have the icon of the saint or the figure that is offered to the church. So here we have Virgin Mary close to the arms. So now when you choose like a church, they place more seats, and it's all the time. You can wander around a little before we proceed to the bus. We're gonna leave the church from the right exit, okay? Because the other groups are driving.
I've got to tell ya. From that angle.
yeah, got that one.
Cool.
So here we are. We're driving to our last stop. As I pointed to the map, it's going to be the southwest part of the island, where we're going to have a scenic drive of the area of St. John, and we're going to drive through the area of Fornos. Beautiful base, mostly preferred the windy days. See that how is it now to the right, how is the north, fully windy, and how it's the waves. And we're going to see later on the south part of the island how different it's going to be the landscape and how calm it's going to be the sea. Where we're going to also drive and have a scenic view of the neighboring island of Delos. It's a protected heritage monument by UNESCO. And all the island, we're going to have a view of the island from above. As for the vegetation, as we've seen the bougainvillea that you saw in the monastery, and also the capers that they grow to the slopes of the hills. And we're going to drive next to reach the area of St. John. For those of you that you have seen maybe the movie Silly Valentine, some of the scenes that were shooted in that area of Mykonos Island. And we're going to see mostly 5-star resorts, and it's an area that has really beautiful villas. We're going to see also from above the area of
so much open land.
Yes, lots.
So you just buy a plot.
Aleomandra, we're going to pass, and also we're going to see the small bay of Corfos.
With ocean views too, it's like
It's gorgeous.
you think this would be dotted with Hollywood homes.
Yeah, you do. Do I hear a siren, or is it?
I think it's the wind. But yeah, I thought that too. I hear a siren. That one I have because it's hardly any rain, lots of solar power.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. You make the solar power, and I do actually put a tank in for the water.
Yes.
Rain.
Yep.
Since you can't drink the water.
And use it for washing to water the gardens.
It's very dry. It's not
It is, isn't
granular,
it?
is it?
No.
It's just rocky and all that swirling.
As we said, we have the international airport. We've seen that we have the public and private schools in the matter of healthcare. We have the public hospital, but also we have plenty of clinics all around the island, especially during the summer, because of the great need
I read
of
somewhere that's
healthcare
their,
with all the import
that's their
tourism
input,
and the people. It's not enough
Really?
only with the public.
Huh.
We have 3 ports, as we said, and also as for those of you that you're going to stop in the old town to continue with the shopping and sightseeing, you're going to see also Peter the Pelican. That's considered to be the mascot of the island, the light pink pelican. That the story began during 1950s when a fisherman took care of the wooden pelican, and suddenly after the locals, they loved him and he stayed because he was fed by people, and it became the mascot. Nowadays we have ended to Peter III. You may have seen him wandering around to the area of Little Venice. You're going to be able to see the area of Little Venice also in the old town. Little Venice was named after the small part of land, especially after the 13th century AD and on, where we have Italian occupation, the family of Ghisi that they settled on the island. And the know-how also for the windmills, it was something imported from Italians during that time. And they were graining cereal and they were exporting flour. The windmills that you will see also, the most typical group of windmills that you see in every postcard, in every picture of Mykonos. It's the area of Katomili. were they were mostly for the exporting flour of the island of
1889 is
Mykonos.
fuel.
They were cooperative, and imagine that in cases that they have every shift it was keeping part in the 10% of the flour-like production. Mykonoans, once we have tasted the food of Mykonos, you had the glass of ouzo. It's a national drink. Imagine that for their cuisine they were using a lot of capers once they have plenty in the island. The cream cheese that you've tasted, it's made of goat cheese mostly. They're having goat cheese and yogurt.
You didn't like it, did you?
Imagine that there were also
Well, I
some
tried
kind of
to taste it,
vegetables,
but I-
I
tomato,
know.
cucumber. They have the
Of course.
blusa, that it's like jamon or like prosciutto. They take ham and they use that technique to be longer preserve the meat. And also in Mykonos cuisine we have a lot of rusks, because it was lasting longer in comparison to bread, so they were able to fill the boats for the sailors with the rusks instead of bread.
Good old roundabouts.
Next stop it's gonna be, I repeat, the area of the southwest part of the island. To our right we're driving the upper part. You can see in some cases above, we're above the old town of Mykonos, always located at the west coast. Even the first civilizations that were settled in that part of land. And as for the recent history, as we said in the beginning, well, the brand name wasn't from the first years of the civilization of Mykonos. Imagine that all the story with popular destination for vacation started at 1950s. Once we're gonna visit, we're gonna have a view of the island of Delos. During 1950s, a lot of people that belonged to fine arts, they started visiting the island of Mykonos because they wanted actually to see the active excavation that was taking place to the island of Delos, that we had the sanctuary of Apollo, the god of sunlight, and his twin sister Artemis, the goddess of moonlight. So people, they had to stay for the night on the island of Mykonos, and out of nowhere during 50s and on, they started visiting the island again because they were captivated by the beautiful whitewashed houses. As we mentioned with some of the guests we were discussing previously, it was the protected heritage nowadays, the architecture of Cycladic Islands. That's why it's protected by law. So it was something unique, especially from people that they were coming from all around the world. To the right, you're going to see an abandoned house. The upper part has also triangle chimneys and safes. They used to have private pigeon houses at the top of the house, in cases that they were collecting even the droppings of the birds and they were throwing to the fields to help the fertility, organic way to help the fertility of
Soil.
the fields, to boost a little bit more. And nowadays we don't have actually active pigeon houses, dovecotes. Some of them I'm going to point to you on our way to Ornos. They have been added to contemporary architecture, just evidences of the old architecture tradition of Mykonos. Once again to our right we're passing another old house where we used to have also, in some cases they were placing to the top of the chimneys vessels, pottery. And now in a few seconds you can see to the right contemporary suggestions about how the pigeon houses were with the triangles. And to the right now we're going to see a tax office, and it's a more contemporary island, as you can see how it used to be. They have also to the neighboring islands of
The pigeons.
Cyclades. They belong to the folklore architecture, along with the windmills, and also with the little Venice houses that there are more or less. You're gonna see if you wander around the old town. They're dated close to the 18th century AD. Once you were asking me about the area of the old town, you're gonna see that we have narrow streets on purpose, labyrinth.
Look at it. Oh,
Like wandering around in a castle, you're gonna be protected by the wind. It's gonna be more pleasant if you walk in the inner part of the old town. That's actually the reason why we made the narrow streets and alleys, for protection of the strong northern winds. And they did that technique also to mute the whistling of the strong winds. To the right, you're gonna have an upper view of the stadium of Corfos, and also from the Bay of Corfos. Once a gate faces straight ahead the north, and it's one of the beaches that actually also during the summer they're practicing surfing and kite surfing again. And straight ahead we have reached the area of Ornos. Where it used to be a small settlement that, as the years went by, expanded. It's once again, we could say, the third part after the Anomera. It's fully independent with its supermarkets, everything. We're now at the southwest part of the island.
we have to wait for them to, because it's so narrow.
Range Rover, of course. Range Rover had to squeeze by.
Bus, really? That's not fair.
But remember they said that? Yeah, they had to reverse all the way back.
It's like, surely you should have a stop and go sign. What if you're coming around the damn corner?
So here we are. You see how narrow are the streets in the island.
And you get that stupid motorbike cutting in. That's tour number 9.
Is it?
So we continue driving. We're driving through the area of Ornos. See, all around residential and resorts for renting. Another type of pigeon house to the left. Once again, the typical chapel in the property, as you can see. And in a few seconds we're going to turn left in order to have an upper view of the Bay of Ornos. That's
Oh,
the Bay
look
of
how
Hornos
wide
here
that
to the
is.
left.
Wow.
You see the difference with the north, as I told you, gonna be
Yeah,
the south
this
part's
side.
gonna be more calm for swimming. Majority of the people that are coming here when it's a windy day. And we're driving now in order to reach the area of Aleomandra, and then we're gonna drive to turn right to have an upper view of the island of Delos. As I told you, that it's a protected heritage monument, really important for the Greeks. Once it's the biggest archaeological site in the size that we have active nowadays. It's a protected also heritage monument. Here we're passing the area. We can have an upper view, residential area with villas.
With pools, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this one over here.
Oh wow.
Have a pool.
Well, it looks so pretty because it's made of that bright blue.
Yeah.
Now this is metro. Metro track. On the bed. Oh, down the bed.
He's lucky.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this place. So good lord.
That boy's having grass.
So here we are. In a few minutes we're going to be able to see the view of the island of Delos. That in Greek means revealed. It's considered to be the center of the Cycladic Islands, where also during the Hellenistic time it used to be the biggest commercial port to the area, to the known world once it was connecting 3 continents the past years. It was located in the heart of the Aegean Sea. You can see the island of Delos to the left. All the island nowadays, it's an archaeological site. We're not allowed to stay for the night, and also it's protected 24/7. We're facing from here the east coast of the island, and according to the researchers, plus we have found the oldest synagogue in Greece, dated to the 1st century AD.
Wow.
And next to it we have the other island that it's called Rinia, and it used to be the graveyard of the island of Delos, because from a point on no man, no woman was allowed to be born and to be buried on the island of Sunlight. Where also we have an upper view, you can see where are the yachts. It's the Bay of St. John, where for those of you that you've seen maybe Celia Valentine shooted here during 80s. And also it's once again the southwest part of the island where people, they prefer to have a quick swim when it's windy. You can see also the Greek flag waving. Of course that spot of the island was named after the 2 chapels that they are placed in front of the waterfront. 2 chapels of St. John that named after the small part of land.
So white. No, it could be abandoned.
Wait for a few minutes the public bus, and slowly we're gonna take the road back to the boat. Of course, firstly we're gonna have the stop to drop off those of you that you want to return, you want to continue with the wandering around to the old town. I definitely recommend it once it's really early in the morning and you have up until 5, you have plenty of time. Three, you're right. 3 p.m. the last shuttle. So don't worry, because the shuttle buses, they go back and forth all the time. You don't have to pay anything, it's free for you. course. And I'm gonna show you the place that our driver is gonna drop us off. It's gonna be exactly the same spot that if you want to your way back, to turn back walking, in order to take the shuttle bus back to the new port. As for the things that you're able to do in the old town, first of all, it's the capital, of course, so you can find shops, restaurants, cafeterias. The majority, especially during that time of the year, it's located in the old town. Little Venice, it's located in the old town of Mykonos. The windmills,
Windmills. I can tell.
Peter the Pelican, the mascot. You're going to see the waterfront. If you want to continue about the experience of food, I totally recommend to taste the seafood of the island. Of course, when you visit an island, you taste the seafood. When you visit the mountains, you eat meat. And a lot of people, they tend to ask me, don't hesitate to, you have plenty of time if you want, to the waterfront with a view to a local Greek tavern. If you want to taste something local, there's a brewing company in Mykonos the last 3 years, and attend that they're making Mykonian beer. You can taste it, of course.
Fish tavern? Wow. But that's nice.
Looks nice.
I know, I saw pies.
Did you? It's probably sweet pies, not meat pies.
So, in order to continue the narration of the brand name of Mykonos after 50s, we said about the island of Delos. We have 60s and 70s, the hippie wave brought a lot of young people from all around the world that they were lying naked to the beaches. In comparison to other places of Greece that there were locals that were chasing the young people to get dressed, here they showed a great tolerance, the locals. And the island of Mykonos now, up until today, have parts of land base that they're having nudist beaches still, and that attracted back all the visitors about how the free was the spirit of the locals, and about the extremely nice and kind way of behavior that they were showing, the hospitality to the people that they were visiting their place. So after 80s and on, the island became also combined with gay tourism. Once again, the locals embraced the gay community, and the gay community embraced back the island of Mykonos. And the last years we have a festival that's taking place the end of September, the end of August party and the beginning of September. It's called Excelsior, and it helped in a very big extent the island of Mykonos to be popular and advertised abroad, to create the brand name Mykonos, plus with the legendary parties, the clubbing, that it's, as we said in the beginning, it's combined with clubbing, especially during July and August. Legendary clubs like Cabo Paradiso and all around the island. They're inviting DJs from all around the world, and a lot of parties and people that are visiting the island for the nightlife. Visitors on the island, and also they're having their own houses, as we said. Last year we have visitors like Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, Edward Norton, people from all around the world, Gerald Butler, and Christian Dior at the time used to have his own villa here. The designer, Armani, of course. If we talk about the past, Grace Kelly, Onassis, Jackie O, few names of the famous people that they were passing their time in the summers at the time of the island.
That everyone has.
All the dimes.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the front of these windows. You've seen any windows?
Huh?
Never seen
I wonder if it's the turbine that you saw one.
No. Because it shows everything that you have. It has a window.
Our driver now is gonna drop us off, those of you that you wanna wander around to the old town. The rest of us, we're gonna stay inside the bus because we're gonna end together back to the cruise ship or tour.
We'll walk around because this is where the free shuttle comes.
Yeah, it'll be there.
So,
Because you go back to the ship then
and
you
get
the
a
free
shuttle back here. So you might as well just stay here.
Do you want your water?
No, I'm good, right? Do you want these bottles?
That's what I said.
No, I don't.
No. Okay.
Straight ahead you can see the area of Turlos, where a cruise ship is, where the area named after the monastery that we visited together. here to the right, you can see how it used to be the island at the time, with big rocks spread all around the island. That's why they used to say in ancient Greece, they created the myth that said about the island of Mykonos, that here took place the battle of giants, and Zeus and Hercules, they were throwing big rocks to captivate the giants beneath. That's how they explain all those piles of rocks that we see spread all around the island. Layers of granite. And a few seconds straight ahead to the right, you're going to be able to have a view of the old town, where we're going to proceed to the parking lot.
Looks like an old Acropolis coming up.
Oh yeah.
Up on the top of my camera away. Like that. It just looked like it was the old pillars. It's very choppy.
Yeah.
We're passing from the area of Taku and from the luxurious hotel of Cabo Taku, as it's called. In front of us you can see the old town of Mykonos. The windmills are visible. The town hall is the construction with the roof tiles and everything whitewashed, of course.
So that's all in the old town.
To the right, the conical
Where they get to see it for
rooftops, the windmills.
Yes. Yes.
free. Oh yeah.
Look, it's there, there's like towers over there, but I can't see that down there. Must be crazy.
Made me laugh.
Oh, what? There they are, over there. Because every piece of tourist stuff here has got a windmill on it.
It does actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not so, where are they?
Not gonna tell you.
No, it's just not cricket. Oh, that's there, could they be?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, they're right here, it's the old town. Oh. Okay.
Oh, it is you. Oh, okay. I didn't know you were there. very unstable, uneven.
The walkway. It is, but we're all flat. I just don't want to get wet.
What the notes say ahead.
Oh, there's those windmills that they're talking about. There's those windmills behind the sails of the...
I'm expecting windmills.
Like, and there's one up the top there.
Maybe that's not. You know what I mean?
That's a windmill. You're thinking of like a lighthouse with sail things on it? Is that what you're thinking
That's
of?
a windmill.
So is that? It's the old style windmills.
I mean, the big ones.
You good now? What are you...
The hair.
Oh, okay.
The hat was blue. But I mean, it's like every time, you know, they talk to me, they want to come.
Go back here and have a donut.
They go back now. You go upstairs to have lunch. It's
Yeah.
like, really? $100. And you've gone off to have a cup of coffee, you know.
That's
You can have a cup of
Americans for
coffee
you
at
though.
3:30. We're
No.
on the boat all day.
Tomorrow. I know. It's your lovely Americans there.
Now, I'm trying to get you there, right there, right next to me. Because there's a blue one and there's a blue one.
Because it's on easy, no doubt. That's fine. I see when it does it because the thing goes across. The thing.
Yeah, because there's a blue one and then there's the big one. I'm trying to get those
Oh yeah.
together. I mean, it's very beautiful.
I mean, yeah, if the wind racked off, it would be perfect.
But I'm sure you could get into a sheltered barn.
Oh, I bet they've got some beautiful seafood.
She's trying to take a picture.
Ooh. What?
Hello.
Hello. I always get worried about taking photos of signs when around. I don't know, I just get worried that people will be like, no, no, no.
Well, they just go.
Get ready.
So they're already over there having glasses of wine. And they're already having their coffees, like you said, but they're Americans. One's back there. So, oh yeah, you have to have your cappuccinos. Some souvenirs.
Que yo he venido a paso del barco y luego hace 15 segundos no llegó a su cuarto. Ya está en su cuarto. Mira, no hay problema. No como yo, ya te lo
Watch that.
Oh, thank you.
Don't want you to slip because it's probably like mayonnaise.
See it? Yeah, it looked like it was.
People are all in there having. I find it funny
Go
that
over by that gate.
that What? I don't know, because as it did it, you put your hand straight down. So you probably got it all blurred and of a shoe.
Probably.
Because you pressed it and instantly it flashed as you had it get down on the ground.
Probably.
Beautiful water.
See, when the sun's out, you can tell.
That's what I mean. When the wind pisses off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I can
Yeah. Guy with his dogs.
Μπορεί να σε πάρει ο στήλος να σου πει ότι μπορεί να μην...
And of course there's always one. Oh, someone's in the water. That's what I mean. It's like, of course there is. There's always one idiot.
Piazza or plaza or whatever
Probably.
they call it.
So small, the sand to the water.
It is. Some boats going.
So pretty, the colour. There's another one. Probably garbage collectors.
Who knows? They're going somewhere with their luggage.
God knows. Oh, it's over again. How do we always end up behind her?
That's pretty.
And I'm puffing. Obviously they were doing that stone or jewel thing because he's got Norwegian cruise sign on his window.
Yeah.
And when we're in Alaska, they did that, meaning if you go in there and hand them something or show them something, they give you something.
Get him a t-shirt. Where you going?
We can go down there.
It's just
Olive oil soup. I know you're anxious to get the olive oil soap, aren't you?
yeah.
Why is that? For you or for a gift?
I don't know. It's just iconic that it's the only place that sells soap that's got olive oil in it. Like back at that other place you buy soap with document.
Yeah. So that's just...
Something that's different.
Oh, well, that's different, alright.
They didn't have the
Want to look at anything?
No, that's what I was thinking. You bought me that thing last night, which was really nice, that little windmill thing.
Windmill.
No, I think the only... It's just annoying me because I'm sure if I showed it to you, you'd instantly be like, oh, that, yes. And it's like, yeah, the iconic shot where, because even they show it in every pamphlet, everything at all. And when Derek, the guy I went to school with, he came here on his honeymoon and did the Greek island cruise, and he and his wife got the photo. And it's literally, you're sitting here. Where's all the blue domes? Oh, that's on the island of blah blah. No, it's probably
Yesterday,
no, it's probably on a different island once again. You know, it's like, oh, that's on the blah blah island. It's like, well, we don't go there. It's like, you got to pay for a shuttle over there.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yes, the usual.
I mean, it's like a small, it almost to me looks like an English town, like a small English village. Yeah, all the pebbles and everything's right near the water.
It is a little bit bright tonight.
Now, if there's anything you want to look at, or if there's anything you want to buy, let me know.
I will. I'll look at souvenirs on the way back.
I was just going down there to that end because it's like, we're here for till 3. Yeah, that's where I was heading. That's going down to that end. I know, right? Well, I tell you what, when we get to this pole here, I'll stand and you should be able to get a photo of me with that in the background. Yeah. Where it comes. Did you actually get the blue dome? There. $13? That's kind of crazy.
I'll give you $5. Like that. Like that town there.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Well, no, that's not the exact tip, but it's like wherever that is where I'm sure is where you go up the top and have the photo looking down.
Okay.
It's that shot. Town hall. See any of it. I mean, we could go around if you want to see those 3 windmills.
You can come down a little bit and I can get you a little bit more.
I'm good. Tough. There you go. Yep. So they know that you weren't actually cursing them. Homemade gelato. Homemade cones. waffles. It's probably easier to walk straight across the sand than to deal with all these idiots. Oh, yes. Go sit in the hotel and do nothing. Well, apparently, someone's. She wants to do something and he wants to do something. It's like, then why spend the money coming? I guess that's what she's saying. Fine, we'll go sit and do nothing. No, more like a cup of coffee. No, it's not like a cup, it'd be more like a sip of coffee. All the worries about that coffee. Oh, they are. Nah, I'm good. Don't forget, if you want any photos, let me know so I can.
I'm not a photo person.
I know, but you know, it does help you to have a couple of them, right?
I'm going to look at
Souvenirs.
souvenirs. Souvenirs. Oh, that's better.
You're saying? I mean, I'm pretty much good. I just like to get different perspectives. Oh, see, it's nice now that the wind's racked off.
Can you do a moving photo?
Yeah, I can actually. Are you serious? I forgot to press record. So we look like a fliphead. But if anyone asks,
Video.
that's right. We're in Mykonos.
October 2018.
Light going down.
Too blurry. The blur, the blur. The blur.
8-8.
8-8.
And we are